The first round of the NFL draft kicks off tonight in Kansas City as prospects eagerly wait for their name to be called. The draft will continue through Saturday until round 7 wraps up. For more on all of this, let's bring in CBS Sports NFL analyst Scott Pioli. He's also a former NFL general manager. So this is exciting. As a former front office executive in the NFL, walk us through the lead up to the draft and how teams adjust their draft board on the fly.
You know, Anne-Marie, first of all, it's great to see you both again and to be with you. The draft is interesting because I've always felt like there's two phases of it. There's the evaluation process, and then there's the strategy. All of the evaluation work and that part of the preparation should have been done well ahead of now. But now comes the strategy. But along with strategy, it's trying to understand what other teams are going to do and how you're going to react to what they do. The big thing is this, Anne-Marie, it's just like everything in life. There's only so many things that you can control, and be very, very prepared for things that are going to happen that are completely out of your control. And what you have to do is have yourself trained to not overreact or react over emotionally. Because again, this is such an important time where you're trying to rebuild your team or continue to build your team and refortify your team. One of the things that you have to do also is rely on your core values, what you believe are the most important things to your organization, and bring players that match and fit what you're going to do. I know as a part of every team that I was with, the times that we missed it the most was when we deviated from our core values and made exceptions. But the important part is when you make exceptions, you have to understand, okay, this just happened before us. Plan A is out the window. Plan B is out the window. Let's go to plan C. Do we have a way that we want to develop this player and that we can have, a player that doesn't fit exactly what we want and still have them develop?
So who do you see the Panthers selecting with their first overall pick?
Yeah, I'm not an expert, Vlad, I'll say that, but all the experts seem to think it's going to be Bryce Young, and I agree. And there's a lot of reasons that I agree. I mean, the biggest reason being the fact that I believe he is the best player in the draft, not only talent-wise, not only physically, but he's the complete makeup in terms of a total package as a human being. I've spent time with him. I did some work for the University of Alabama. I got to meet him. I got to know his parents. This guy gets it on every single level. He's a smart person who makes good decisions in the game, off the field. He's a tremendous talent. A lot of people are worried about his height. I'm not worried about his height. What I am a little concerned about is his overall bulk. But I do believe also that the league rules have changed so much and they protect quarterbacks so much. Bryce Young isn't going to get hit as often or as violently as other quarterbacks have in the past. So I think a player that has his physical stature might be a little bit safer in the league moving forward for sure.
And then who are some of the names who you think could rise in the draft? And do you see any prospect, falling from where they may be projected to go?
Anne-Marie, this is, I think the first prospect that we saw falling a little bit is Jalen Carter, the defensive lineman from Georgia, who was involved in that racing accident that led to the very tragic, unfortunate deaths of two of his fellow students at the University of Georgia. He was pretty much consensus that he was going to be the number one pick overall. But in recent times, he has dropped because there's so much that's still not understood about this situation. Now, when I say he's falling, he's not going to be the number one pick, but he's certainly going to be a first-day pick and more than likely a top 10. But there is a big difference between 1 and 8 and 9 and 10 for sure. A couple players that we've seen rise particularly are the quarterbacks. Two quarterbacks in particular, Anthony Richardson from the University of Florida and Will Levis from the University of Kentucky. And Anthony Richardson in particular rose fast because he had such a strong showing in his workouts. He's a physical specimen in terms of his arm strength, his speed, his ability to run. The game's evolving a little bit now, and he has all the tools that are necessary for a current NFL quarterback. The thing about Richardson is he's a very young player. His accuracy isn't that great. His decision-making needs a little bit more experience. So to me, he needs some time to develop. My biggest concern for him is he's rising so fast that he might be picked too high and the expectations might be unrealistic. Will Levis, very similar, different package, but really comes across as a guy who needs developmental time and needs time to get experience before he's thrown into things. He's a very good talent like Richardson, but needs time to develop. He's been rising up boards as well.
All right. Scott Pioli, always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you. Great to see you again. Be well.
You too.